Overrated or underrated? Tim Tebow is the greatest Heisman Trophy winning quarterback of all time.
You know what? He had before I answer that question, he was very good. How Urban Meyer, an Ohio guy, took his talent and utilized it. I would say he was very good at what he did for Florida Gators. So I would say he was underrated at the time, and which really he wasn't, because he was a Heisman Trophy winner. You're surprised at that answer. I know you are.
Overrated or underrated? Knowing the names of the species of plants and birds that live on your property.
Oh, I think that's underrated, of course. I mean, we should always strive to be better in every aspect of management, and especially scaling things down and just doing your own piece of property. How cool is that you're sitting there cooking your hot dogs over the grill and Bob goes, "What's that plant?" And you go, "Hey, it's a Joe Pie weed." And Bob's gonna be sitting there drinking a beer, envying you over your grill and your grilling abilities and going, "That guy knows what Joe Pie weed is." I mean, come on, it's just crazy. No, it's just, you should know. I mean, we should all know. I don't know. I'm not being a hypocrite, because I should be doing more and better too, but knowing that I should is halfway there. So no, everybody should know a lot of things, right? So that would be underrated.
Overrated or underrated? Managing your property for non-game species.
Oh, absolutely underrated. We should be managing, we have to stop managing through one species being oriented, because when we start managing for all species, like the white-tailed deer actually gets more benefit from it, because you learn how to manage more specifically for certain species instead of just being a generic version of it, like switchgrass. Native vegetation. When you learn about like songbirds, you dive deeper into what that songbird needs, and the benefit obviously is the songbird, but white-tailed deer. You're making those plant species, that ecosystem healthier, which in turn will make healthier wildlife. So you should. It's underrated.
Overrated or underrated? No-till food plots.
Wow. I think the future is obviously no-till, but I think we're a far cry from getting there as quick as we would like, if that made any sense. So I think it's underrated at the moment, overrated at the moment, because people don't have the ability through equipment or even knowledge, but we have to get there. I think that is the future in the food plot programs, especially for the deer manager. So, but there's a lot of costs, there's a lot of everything that goes into it. So we have a lot to learn, we have to get there quicker. So.
Overrated or underrated? Putting out minerals for deer during the summer.
Overrated. With a caveat that goes with it. I think if you just have 50 acres and you throw a trophy rock out there, I think that is, and you're expecting milk production to go up and antler development to go up and a healthier animal. Does that work? Yes, it does. But in the whole scheme of things, it's not what, I don't think personally it's doing what you want it to do. I think it's a great thing to do, to put out, because it doesn't necessarily hurt them. I think that they'll get some benefit out of it. But bigger, large tracts of property where you have more control, like Texas or in the South where larger tracts are, I think it does maybe help a little bit. But in the Midwest where there's smaller properties, or even anywhere other than the large tracts, I think it's not doing what your expectations are trying to meet. But it's a great place to put up a camera and inventory wildlife. Again, it's not hurting anything, and hey, if you want to help, do it. It's not like a complete waste of time.
Overrated or underrated? Morning hunts during the early season for deer.
Oh, I think that is overrated. Stay home. Just go to. I think it's a complete. I didn't say complete waste of time, because I didn't think it happened, and I don't know how many people are going to write in and go, "I shot this 180 with." No, it's especially early season. It's just that those deer are on the pattern, and those latter hunts are obviously the better odds of it. But there's a lot of people out there that find success in it, and I'm not going to poo-poo that. But personally, myself, I think I'm going to be sleeping in.
Overrated or underrated? Should the public have more say in the management of wildlife?
Should the public have the say? Well, When it comes to state agencies managing wildlife, you should always leave it in the hands of the professionals. Whether you agree with them or not is public opinion. These people went to school, they have the degree, they did the time, they have the knowledge, and hopefully they have the passion while managing wildlife and also managing for your expectations. And that seems to be lost. I think that's where the disconnect is people are strictly managing for the benefit of wildlife and not for the whole use of the wildlife, the recreational aspect of it. So, and that's something that sportsmen, men and women, under that title should be well aware of, that, you know, as a future biologist, do they have your interest at heart? So as of right now, the public does have a say in the management of wildlife. Through a lot of states have hearings where they can actually, before COVID, come in and voice their opinion to the biologist and write down concerns. Nowadays, a lot of states it's just through you know, like internet. They can send in their questions or concerns or their comments, and those things are taken, you know, into serious consideration. But as a whole, leave it to the professionals, the state agencies. But with that being said, you should know who these people are and not vote them in, but you should be well enough aware of who is the deer biologist, who is the trapping biologist for the state. So as of right now, I would say that is overrated.